Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
And one thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late. They cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after your no. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Yo, 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 yo. What up? What up? What up? What up? What's the word? What's the word? I hope all is well with everybody. I hope you're warm. One more day. One more day. 2026 is right around the corner. I hope you in a good space. I hope you're prepared to embark on new ventures. Lord willing, of course. Shout outs to my poets, writers, content creators. Do me a solid. Like, share, repost. Let the people know we on. You see the title. We gotta talk. Yeah, I got Zay in the building. If Coach pulls up, I'll bring him to the stage. Right now, we gotta have a serious talk, man. I got a clip that I want to play for y'all. Then we're gonna go from there. Comment section. If you got any thoughts, any opinions, we here. Share your views. Let me know. You agree, you disagree with anything that is said throughout this Discord. Let's get this started, man. What's going on, brother? What's the word?
Hey man, how's it going?
I'm good, man. Feeling good. Feeling like talking. Feeling like having a conversation, man. This is an interesting one. Funny enough, just so y'all know, the clip that I had prior to this was completely different. I think IG took it down for some reason. I don't know if they got sensitive about it. They didn't like the fact that she was saying what she was saying, but I found something equivalent to it. So I'm gonna bring it up on the big screen. It's like 2 minutes, and we're gonna chop it up. Let me see. How do I want the screen? Let's see. Fuck it, we'll leave it like this.
Women don't even know how to treat men because they were never taught how. Boys grew up being trained from day one. Be a gentleman, open the door, protect her, provide for her, be understanding. And if she hits you, you don't hit her back. Everywhere we looked, the message was the same. Movies, books, fairy tales. The man rescues the woman. The man saves the day. The man risks his life. The man carries the burden. And women were always the princesses, right? But there's a problem with that. We never saw the reverse. We never saw stories about how women should be treating men. No novels teaching girls how to respect a man. No movies demonstrating feminine loyalty, softness, or devotion. Parents don't even teach it. School doesn't even teach it. And society definitely doesn't teach that. So guess what happens? We have generations of women who expect everything, but were never taught to give anything back. And feminism made it worse. Instead of teaching women how to understand men, how to work in synergy, how to create polarity, it taught them to compete with the men, to fight with them, to become a man, to see softness as weakness and masculinity as toxic. So, how can a woman treat a man well if she was never shown what feminine contribution even looks like? And how can she respect him when all she grew up hearing was men are the problem? How can she love him correctly when she was taught that he owes her everything and she owes nothing in return? Men today are paying the price for a script that they didn't write. They were raised to give everything. Women were not raised to reciprocate. And the only way we fix this is by teaching the truth. Polarity is freedom. Synergy is power. Relationships only work when both people know how to love each other and live in their masculine and feminine energies. Until women learn how to treat men with respect, softness, admiration, and understanding, the imbalance is going to continue. Women, we need to do better. Women.
All right, man. Hey, let's cook. I know you didn't heard this conversation before. I don't know how many times we've specifically heard women say this. It's a small few, but we've been down this road before. We've seen the discussions. Let's break this down, man, as much as we possibly can. Your initial thoughts on the video itself, on the topic itself.
I 100% agree with her. You know, there are moments where, you know, there are a whole lot of videos of women going out there posting videos of how men are simps and men do this, men do that, and they want specific specific things out of a man, and when a man does not give it to them, they react, and then they go on social media and they post about it. You know, I see those type of videos all the time, you know, about the same. It might not be the same person, but it'd be the same type of woman. And I'm just glad, like this woman right here, she's willing to say what other women don't want to admit.
Coach, what up? Just to recap, I'll play the video back here, maybe somewhere midstream. Basically, the conversation starts with a statement that is made by this young lady that's essentially saying that men are raised to be everything that society paints us, but women are not taught how to treat men. They're not taught how to be matter of fact, you know what, let me just go ahead and spin it back, because I sent you and I sent Zay 2 different clips, so I don't want you to be confused, and I don't want nobody to be led astray with the context of this.
Don't even know how to treat men because they were never taught how. Boys grew up being trained from day one. Be a gentleman, open the door, protect her, provide for her, be understanding. And if she hits you, you don't hit her back. Everywhere we looked, the message was the same. Movies, books, fairy tales. The man rescues the woman. The man saves the day. The man risks his life. The man carries the burden. And women were always the princesses, right? But there's a problem with that. We never saw the reverse. We never saw stories about how women should be treating men. No novels teaching girls how to respect a man. No movies demonstrating feminine loyalty, softness, or devotion. Parents don't even teach it. School doesn't even teach it. And society definitely doesn't teach that. So guess what happens? We have generations of women who accept everything, but were never taught to give anything back. And feminism made it worse. Instead of teaching women how to understand men, how to work in synergy, how to create polarity, it taught them to compete with the men, to fight with them, to become a man, to see softness as weakness and masculinity as toxic. So, how can a woman treat a man well if she was never shown what feminine contribution even looks like? And how can she respect him when all she grew up hearing was men are the problem? How can she love him correctly when she was taught that he owes her everything and she owes nothing in return? Men today are paying the price for a script that they didn't write. They were raised to give everything. Women were not raised to reciprocate. And the only way we fix this is by teaching the truth. Polarity is freedom. Synergy is power. Relationships only work when both people know how to love each other and live in their masculine and feminine energies. Until women learn how to treat men with respect, softness, admiration, and understanding, the imbalance is going to continue. Women, we need to do better.
All right, so remix it. Let me go ahead and say my portion, and then I'll turn it over to you, bro. So let me put it this way, man. I agree with her. This conversation is so difficult, not for me personally, but it's difficult for a lot of people because it forces you to look at things in a negative light instead of actually looking at them as opportunities to reevaluate some things about yourself. Because if you came to me and told me you're not eating healthy, you're putting too much cholesterol in your body or too much sugar in your body, and it's going to make you sick, and it might end up later on putting you in the hospital, I'm going to receive that because I know my health is on the line. This is life or death. And I'm not trying to be extreme. I'm trying to paint a picture. When we have these conversations, there should be a level of urgency behind it. It shouldn't be dismissed, or it shouldn't be evaluated from one set of eyes, right? Perspective matters, context matters. And if you're already going into these discussions with a skewed version of what you think it's supposed to look like, you've already said, you know what, this conversation doesn't matter because I believe what I believe. I grew up how I grew up, and you can't tell me nothing else. I'm just not available for nothing else. We're not going to get anywhere with that. So, with that being said, just my initial thoughts. I do agree. we got some more layers to peel back here, but I'm gonna let you pick up from here, man. If you want to add anything.
Nah, I mean, I think the topic was good, man. I'm just trying to figure out which POV you guys are using, because you
So
sound like you was arguing against it just now. So I'm kind of confused.
so I'm not arguing against it. Honestly, what happened was there was a woman in another video that basically said, all of you women who say you don't need a man and you don't need this and you don't need that, you're a liar. You're just saying it because you don't know how to keep one. That was the original video. Someone took it down, so I couldn't spin back on it. And then I came across this one and I said, all right, I can use this. It kind of coincides with her argument. She wasn't very detailed, but she was basically saying, all of you are lying if you say you don't need one. So that's where this stems from. Now, I'm gonna say this: nobody needs anybody, right? But technically, we need each other. If you go on scriptural, we need each other. But a lot of what she said, it made sense to me because men are taught to look at society as a whole, as a collective. Women, most are taught to really think about themselves or look after themselves. And so you don't have the same level of respect or empathy for men because it's you're a princess, you're a queen, you're supposed to have rose petals thrown at your feet. The guy is supposed to open the door for you. He's supposed to be traditional at all times. He's supposed to lay his life down on the line for you at all times. This, that, and the third. But then when you flip the whole thing, and then it comes back to, all right, so what about the man? What does the man get? We don't have those type of conversations, or we don't see enough of them. So it comes off as if you're being kind of selfish. And let me say this, Michelle, it's not all women. We're not okay. Let me put that out there. It's not all, but don't. I want y'all to understand when we have these type of conversations, we're not speaking for all women. We're speaking about a specific group. There's a specific group, right? And if we can't be honest about that, we can't really further the discussion. But I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's being honest. Be perfectly honest. The irony in that, saying I don't think anybody's honest, but I'm gonna be honest, is it goes back to accountability, man. Men shouldn't be worried about what women thinking. Hold yourself accountable, find value within yourself, and you ain't got to worry about what everybody else is doing or what they're thinking. So, I mean, that's just me, man. I think it should be more men, stop taking onus and honor and trying to be the villain. Because what happens is when you try to be the villain, as we grew up, most of us did, you start owning that persona and that image. And then when you outgrow it and you actually trying to educate, you trying to lead people, and they still look at you as if you're that villain, but you change. And that's the problem that we have as people, is we can't identify with discernment and when people change. And so I think that's just things men need to do within themselves is, stop worrying about everybody else externally, start worrying about yourself internally. And once you start reflecting how you actually do feel and the power that you yield, those type of people, you'll attract those type of people. Just my thoughts.
Any response to what he just said, Zay?
I was just thinking, like, what you just said, Coach, it's actually completely underrated. Like, how important that is. You know, everything, your whole reality shifts when you do the work on the inside, right? One simple conversation that you have with a woman like a week ago, right? You can be all over this woman, right? And you can actually see that she's marriage material. Even though something inside you said, nah, I don't think she's marriage material, but I'm going to neglect my intuition and go ahead, go along with it. And then something is drawing you to your inside and saying, wait, maybe I should heal. Maybe this is codependency. Maybe this is wanting something for myself and willing to neglect myself just to have it, you know? And then once you have that mindset, your whole reality switches just like that. And next thing you know, the same conversations that you have with this woman no longer fits your standard. And the next thing you know, you leave and you want something better for yourself. As a man, you want something better for yourself. You don't want something uh that's holding you back, especially if you know you have a dream for yourself. You don't want that. So like you start doing the inner work. Like that is so important, you know. So I just wanted to agree with you.
No, check it right. So I think, like somebody said, men are taught their value is conditional. And I agree. Transactional is what the word we've been using a lot lately. And I think you're in a culture, again, we talked about this a few times, where the roles have shifted, where men don't value themselves. They're being manipulated by other things that are out there, other entities, other genres, whatever it is that you want to identify it as. And without knowing the value within themselves, that's where you have people just following everybody. They say 85% of people out there are followers. You know what I mean? 85%, that's a lot of people. And especially now when everybody's out there searching for followers, that means they're compromising themselves, their morals, their values in order to gain followers. But them themselves aren't even leaders. So how are you trying to have followers where you're not a leader and you can't lead the people to follow you? So yeah, again, it's just going back to the undertones, man, understanding your value, knowing your worth, and knowing what you have to offer. Because if you don't know what you have to offer, then obviously you don't know your value. When you know what you have to offer, now you can barter, you can negotiate. You know what I mean? It just opens up the road for communication in other ways versus you faking the phone.
One of the biggest problems here, nobody wants God. And let me be more specific. There are specific souls out here that walk this earth with their own intentions, their own rules, their own laws. If I just picked this up and I started reading from scripture here, how many people would be interested in hearing what I had to say or what I was reading? Well, that's all good and well, but there are a lot of folks who they know that they live a certain lifestyle that goes against what's in scripture. And I can speak for myself. I'm guilty. I'm hell bound. I'm all that. Sin every day. I can be transparent about it. If I went to Proverbs right now, I guarantee you I didn't cross a few lines in there. But see, people they don't want to hear that. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want the light to be put on them. And the reason why is because that is going to force you to do some work. And either you're going to do the work or you're going to ignore it and you're going to keep doing what the fuck you want to do. Period. And that's how most of us live. So you create your own rules, your own laws, your own standards, your own jurisdictions, your own perimeters. You get your source from a flawed being who can never ever direct you properly, but you take your advice from flesh because it's easier to deal with that than it is to deal with something that goes against what the hell you really want to do. That's why most folks are followers. That's why most folks are confused. That's why most folks don't know up from down. And you spend half of your life sleeping around with multiple men and women trying to figure out what pieces fit. You have multiple kids out of wedlock. Your marriages fail and suffer. You go through all this mental trauma. You're trying to heal. You build up all of this resentment towards the opposite gender because you stepped out of the will of God. God is the first and should be the head of everybody's life. But I'm not trying to put that on nobody because everybody might not believe in that. That's just me. God first, God, man, woman, child, in that order. He's going to make sure that you are operating with that ebb and flow. No different than how the wind blows when it blows and where it blows, or how the river comes and recedes. It's no different than when the sun comes up and goes down. It has its time. The earth rotates. The calendar year, everything has unison, everything has structure and order. Most of us don't have structure and order. We take our advice from the most flawed things on the planet, and then you wonder why you are so confused and so messed up in the head. So, no, most of us are being raised under adults, parents, grandparents who they were in the street. They smoked a little crack here and there. They slept around. They got led astray. They didn't break the generational curses. Someone lied to them and planted seeds of discord in their life, and they passed it on to you. That's why you don't know. That's why you don't give a shit about a man's struggle. You don't care if he's mentally going through nothing. You don't care if he's suicidal. You don't care if that man's struggling in love. You don't care if that man is in any type of condition that is not or outside of your reality. And men as well. I'm gonna stop right there. I do got some follow-up questions. I guess I could bring them up unless anybody wants to retort. Okay. So let me go here. Are modern women incapable of healthy relationships? Zay.
I wouldn't say incapable. It's more of they don't have the desire to. And I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying some women. You know, they don't have the desire to.
Coach, you laugh. You agree? You disagree?
Oh, I'm just watching y'all on these all in Psalms now. But yeah, I mean that's kind of a broad statement. You can't say, that none of them. Is this something that's desired? Like Zay said, probably not, man. I mean, so many. It's actually it's so crazy, man, because so many people. You talk about modern. I don't even know what modern women is these days, but you look at the landscape, man, of people that are married. They aren't staying married anymore. So we spend a lot of time talking about modern women. So it depends on which demographic you're speaking about. But you just see a lot of people kind of ditching marriage as a whole. Again, it goes back to everybody out there just being out for themselves, man. You know, that whole team concept is something of the past. Everybody's talking about meet me where my energy is and meet me at my level. And how the hell am I supposed to do all that? I don't know what level and I don't know what your energy is because you haven't communicated with me. So I can't answer you that, brother. I don't know what modern women is, man. It just seems to be people in totality as a whole. Everybody's trying to figure it out. And I think everybody's bullshit odometer or barometer is ringing off the scales, and nobody has tolerance for anybody anymore. But at the same time, they want to be tolerated. So I think people just in general don't know how to treat people anymore, and that they would say that they want to be treated a certain way without, and you can't reciprocate energy. There's no way that you can do that. But what you can do is you can try to, meet somebody halfway. And that's what I will say, the lack thereof that's happening these days is people aren't necessarily willing to put the effort into it. Entitlement almost without earning anything. That's what I see on the landscape.
Hey, boss,
Yeah.
I have a quick question before you
Sure.
proceed. When you're talking about modern women, are you talking about the ones that are looking for tricks? Now, I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm being
Hey, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly. So the modern woman, they operate under the transactional relationship IDs, the ideologies. So basically, they are the ones who say you got to make at least what I make or more, or I want to pick and choose when I am feminine, when I want to be nurturing, when I want to be considerate of you. You have to honor the traditional role. I can pick and choose what I get from it. That's what I'm referring to. Because it seems as if nobody wants those ways anymore. It comes off as slavery. It comes off as if I'm trying to dominate you in a way where I'm beating the hell out of you with a belt if you don't do what I say. Like, you, what the fuck? You ain't fuck that type of shit. Nah, social media has gotten people so like confused with what that stuff's supposed to look like. You know what I'm saying? And so you got men and women who are angry and they're bitter. All right, put it this way. Y'all got abused mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You got damaged by people that you actually were interested in, and now you've decided to adapt to a whole entirely different way of thinking to protect your heart from being hurt. That's all it really come down to. So you end up starting to listen to certain people who tell you to go out here and drain them of their wallets, or you go out here and you tell them to just have sex with her and keep it pushing because most people are just broken and damaged. There was something I was going to say and I lost it. Shit. Let me think about that one real quick. Let me go to the comments. People put elaborate words on simple actions like meet at my level situation and all. It's just yeah. Remember when we did that show on Sofia Vergara? And my whole thing is when you are operating in the space that you're supposed to be, you're not living for him or her or the person around the corner. You ain't trying to satisfy Chris Brown or whoever the fuck you might idolize. When you doing what you supposed to be doing in this walk, guess what? The right friends will find you. Your partner will find you. Or I should say you'd find each other. The business will flow how it's supposed to. You won't have a bunch of fake people around you. Why? Because doing things in order eliminates the bullshit. When you do things in decent order, the liars, they can't stay. The manipulators, they can't be around you. The people that are operating from a nefarious and demonic place, they can't stand in your light. You are what you attract. That's all it is. So I think, and I could be wrong for a lot of this, because some people, when they say they don't need a man, I'm just going off of you don't need him because, well, you got your stuff in order, which is cool. Many people probably will never get married in this life. Many people will probably never end up having a family at all. But I see a lot of folks that they regret it later on. I just finished doing a reaction video earlier. This woman, 52 years old, 52. And you would think that I'm exaggerating. She said herself, I wish, and I'm just paraphrasing. I wish I didn't bullshit around when I was younger. I would tell my younger self, go ahead and settle down now. Don't play around. Don't wait until you get older thinking that you can still do the same things that you was doing then. Don't wait until you up and no. But I get it. I get people want to protect their peace. Nobody wants to be toyed around with. At all. And at SM, and matter of fact, let's address her comment, the independent thing. We can't speak for all men. I'm gonna speak for myself. You being independent is not a problem. That's not the problem. The problem is when you say, I don't need you. Because when you tell me you don't need me, and I said this to somebody before, when you say that to me, I'm like, all right, well, why the fuck am I here? I don't even need to be here. Why are you calling me? Don't talk to me about your ex-boyfriends. Don't talk to me about none of that shit. Don't talk to me about your family issues. I don't want to hear it. Because you just said you don't need me. You didn't say me specific, but when you say you don't need this and you got this and you got that, no, that sounds like a man to me. Sounds like a grown-ass man who's saying, man, don't nobody give a fuck about me anyway. I got to go out here and I got to do this myself. When I get off of here and I leave this stream, guess what? I still got to put the work in. I still got to answer the calls. I still got to make the messages. I still got to do this and do that. Nobody's checking on my health. Nobody's checking on my mental. Nobody's doing a damn thing. I got to do that for me. So when you say I don't need a man or I don't need this, you sound just like me. So guess what? Bye. I'm out. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do that. But I don't have a problem with you making your own money. I don't have a problem with you having your own business. I don't have a problem with you taking care of your health and all that. You're supposed to do that. That's an adult. Everybody's supposed to take care of themselves as an adult. The problem comes in with the attitude that comes with it. You develop this ego. You develop this Napoleon complex. Like you're combative. You want to challenge a nigga on everything. You want to be like bumping heads all the time. I didn't come to you because I was trying to put you in front of a horse buggy and have you carrying me around all over the city. I came to you because I wanted to bring us together and build something beautiful. I wouldn't treat you like you were a slave, but you come into these situations with that mindset that basically you are fighting against me. Why the fuck are you fighting against me? Why are you arguing with me? Why are you like that? Don't make sense to me. You might as well just argue with yourself. Do a lot of people think they have more time to settle down than we actually do? Anybody want to ask that?
Well, Zay, swing at it.
Yeah, I do think so. Because honestly, I do that. I think we have more time to settle down than we actually do. Like there was a time where I was 18. Now I'm 26. Time flies, you know. You would think that, time will slow down just to fit your needs in that moment, but no, it doesn't. Time don't stop. Life don't stop. So I think that's what people are stuck at.
Yeah, that's always one of the biggest misunderstandings, especially when people realize that they don't have any more, because they always want more time. That's one of the things that you can't control and you can't get back. So that's why you try to introduce problem solving and strategic thinking, so that way you can execute and use your time appropriately. You only get 24 hours out of the day. If you spend 8 of it sleeping, 8 of it working, I mean, I don't leave you a lot. You know what I mean? An hour to drive to work, the hour to get back, or whatever it is that you're doing for the day. So yeah, you definitely have to schedule out your time and be, more thoughtful and more mindful of what you got.
You know how many times I've been pissed off?
Sounds like a lot, bro.
Like the number of times that I've listened to people's advice, or I decided to pour or invest into something that in hindsight I should have just left it the hell alone. I
What was you
think
mad about? What made
I
you
mean
mad?
I mean what really triggers me is that it's not even really the people anymore. Like back then, it was the people. I wanted to just shut your head in the window. But the older you get, the more you realize like it's not even about the person. It's about the fact that I could have been doing something else. I could have been at the computer. I could have been at the laptop recording. I could have been doing this right here years ago. I could have done had so many different interviews, so many different conversations a long time ago. I could have invested and poured more into my family. Most of my folks are no longer here. And I spent more time concerned and considerate of other people than point into myself or the ones that actually mattered the most. That's what bothers me because I can't get that time back. All
What
I
made
can
you?
do,
What made you keep pouring into them?
but maybe validation, wanting acceptance, wanting to make pieces fit that I knew they weren't going to fit, but I tried to make them fit anyway.
At
So I
what point?
tried.
At what point did you realize that you were pouring into a cup with a closed lid? What made you pivot?
Do you want a short answer or a long answer? Because in shit,
Take your time, brother.
The short answer would be when this specific person had 6 kids and didn't have but one when I met them, or I went to high school with a person I've known them for 20 plus years, nowhere to be found, nowhere. So yeah, you got to be very careful with who you invest in, who you pour into. And I believe both of y'all touched on this, really knowing yourself. Know yourself, not what somebody else said that's what you're supposed to be. Because these people done told me a million times that I was supposed to be this and I was supposed to be that. And I thought, yeah, that's what nope. I was unhappy. I was miserable as fuck. I wasn't myself. I wasn't the goofy, dark humor, sarcastic person that I am. I wasn't none of that shit. I changed and tried to conform to them, and it didn't work that way. And then you don't really resent the people that did you dirty. You resent yourself for not being smart enough to walk the hell away when you were supposed to.
Did you have to hit a certain, and you don't have to share it if you don't want to, I'm just asking. Did you have to hit a certain point? Would you consider that point to be the bottom or not the bottom, where you realize that you needed to turn around and go in a different direction?
I'm there now. Shit.
I think we all there now. Shit.
Yes. I did, like that right there was just me saying in general to like the people who they came off as if they were this. Nah, y'all get the middle finger explicitly, respectfully though, of course, because ain't none of them people around, and they weren't around, they weren't there, and I don't want to make this about me. The only reason
good, man, it's the end of 2025, baby. Take some time for yourself.
Yeah, the only reason I'm bringing this shit up is because, ladies, I gotta say it. I don't know why you get triggered if it don't apply to you, Michelle. I was never talking to you, ma'am. But for some reason, a lot of people get offended when you speak on certain subjects, and it's not really specific to you.
Are you sure people are triggered, or just because somebody say something don't mean they triggered?
No. That's a fact. That's a fact. I just got to clarify. You shouldn't even be triggered. I mean, you got the right to be, but
yeah, I mean, I think if you're talking and somebody responds again, I think we have to be careful, man. Is with this social media and in this age of communication, is everything's subjective. But what's the common ground of if anybody can be offended or triggered by something that somebody says from words on the screen? If you don't have the appropriate emoji, or you know what I mean, or the appropriate etiquette for that particular platform. So I think that's the scary part of the age that we're in with technology and communication, is everything can be so easily misinterpreted. You know what I mean? It can be simple as just saying, just helping you out as far as for, especially if you're addressing the audience, you want to make sure you're not offending anybody that's out there. And obviously it doesn't matter either way you pivot, somebody's going to say something about something. So it's just whatever the hell, you're not offended by, or whatever you don't take offensive, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I just think we are walking on eggshells right now, man, with this new age way of communicating, especially when you start introducing older folks with new technology. Because, some people have been around technology for the last 10 to 15 years. They OGs at it. And then some of us, 50, over 50, it's just out here putting our toes in the water and getting scolded by people out here because we ain't saying it with the appropriate tonality. So I'm just saying, it goes both ways. You got to keep it, open mind to, whoever's out there you engaging with. That's all.
Man, fuck them eggshells.
Okay.
I mean, no, I mean,
that shit go both ways.
yeah, it do. People will be lying too much, man. I can't stand that shit, man. I done had too many people lie to me. I don't need nobody else lying to me, man. Tell me what's up. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what's up.
Yeah, hey, that's the beautiful shit about online, man. Shit, you can block a motherfucker and keep it moving. You know, if you don't like what they're saying to you, so you know. But again, it just goes both ways. F them eggshells.
Yeah. You can be independent, make your money, do all the wonderful shit that you want to do. If you ain't healed, heal. If you got trust issues, work on it. If you got stuff going on that's a priority over some stuff, cool. That's awesome. I support it. I stand by it 100%. Don't nobody want to get played or used, especially if you didn't put in the work to be a better version of yourself. You don't want nobody playing around with you. But understand too that you're doing it in a healthy way, that you don't become
How the fuck you gonna do it in a healthy way if you don't want nobody playing around with you?
Well,
man, I'm trying to let you go, but then you turn around and say something like that, man. I'm trying to let you go.
you develop boundaries, you develop morals and things of that nature. You don't let nobody walk all over you and this, that, and the third. But you can't be having this funky ass attitude, my nigga.
No,
I don't want to date Hulk Hogan. Like for real.
They off the testosterone, huh?
Yeah.
I got it. I respect that.
That's it. It's the attitude. You know, we men and women, we are attracted to similar things, but not everything is completely similar.
Right.
That's it. You develop certain attributes and habits that make you completely unappealing to the other person. That's all.
No, yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
Let's say you met somebody right now and aesthetically Belle Biv DeVoe, right? She poisoned. She got the body and everything, but she talked just like Macho Man Randy Savage. She ain't got the voice and shit, but she talk like that. Are you like? Are we moving forward with that? Like, come on, man. Glorilla, Sexy Red, a female who tell you to suck her dick. Can you tell me that you really rocking with that?
It really depends how much they are in tune with their feminine side. You know? But I'm not saying that I go for those type of chicks, but it really it really depends. You know, I met some women that that are tuned with their masculine side, but there's always got to be a balance. When it comes to these things, you don't want someone that's overly masculine for a female or a woman, but I like
look at them eggshells again.
You can't bench press me, my nigga. Fuck that. You can't bench press me. If you stronger than me, you. We in the bedroom and you're not about to Amazon me, my nigga. You're not doing it. I'm sorry. Some stuff has to just stay
You're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hell no. Shit. But the question was, do this specific group of women know how to keep a man?
Man, listen, I'll say, man, you don't know how these people really are, man. You know what I mean? If you watch that 21 Savage video on YouTube, you don't know if you want to believe it or not believe it. The young boy said that I just say that on my music. I don't really do this at home. You don't know what role these people really are playing. So at the end of the day, man, it's just a bad look for you to be looking up and admiring any of these folks more than what you should be. It's a job, it's entertainment. You know what I mean? Read the disclaimer and find some better heroes, to be perfectly honest with you, man. But yeah, no, you definitely shouldn't be looking up. And I mentioned this the other day, you know, it's not a good look when you got women walking around talking about big dick energy and, you know, singing that kind of stuff and telling people, you know, that type of stuff. So I definitely understand what you're saying, bro. It's not, and I think definitely one of the issues that's out there, man, is it became a bad thing to be submissive at some point. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what you were alluding to earlier. Is I want to, you know, it's cool if you want to play paper, rock, scissors, but I might want to, you know, do some more feminine stuff, watch a movie, go somewhere, do something like that. I think that's kind of what you was mentioning. But no, yeah, definitely, man, agreed. But right now, it's just too much testosterone out there. You know, it's like the women's testosterone has been amplified and the women's estrogen has been amplified. Again, I said it's like it's been a role switch. You know what I mean? The women are kind of being the men in the relationship, and a lot of the men are being the women in the relationship. And then relationships that aren't necessarily working these days are the ones where, you know, like you just mentioned, men are like, wait, hold up. So it's already one of us here. You know what I mean? It don't need to be two of us. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, again, like you mentioned earlier, I think you hit the nail on, you know, right on the head, man. Makes perfect sense. And it's just not enough stuff that's talked about these days, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think you hit it right on the top of the head. Zay, you kind of weaseled out of that one a little bit, man. You ain't really. But I come in and try to clean it up for you, brother.
Yeah, this ain't no arm wrestling competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody on nofugazee, he was arguing with this woman on it, right? She was like arguing with the nigga. She kept on saying, "I'm matching your energy." They just kept going back and forth. The host was like, "All right, let me ask you this. How is it that when it comes to sex, you're submissive? You know, that's the ultimate submission. You giving your body away to somebody. How can you be submissive and let him crack from the back, leg up? All how can you let him take charge there, but you have a problem when you're doing domestic things outside of the bedroom? So you'll listen to him here, but nowhere else. And she said, "Yeah, that's me."
Well, I'll go ahead, Zay. You can piggyback. So real quick, man, because that's where in that situation, the only place where the roles are clearly identified, right? One being the sender, the other being the receiver. So everything else, because you mentioned domestic, so now that's subjective, because you could be talking about traditional subjective, modern women's subjective, or just modern 2025 relationships, you know, having a conversation and then everybody just getting in and helping to be a team and a cohesive team, competing, you know, or completing each other, just depending on which spiel they're going to go about going it. So that's really what it boils down to, man. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Zay, what you got?
No, I was gonna say that, you know, I feel like some people's love language is touch, and in my experience, I had women tell me that they would start arguments just to have you manhandle them, out of a argument, and they will continually test your manhood just so they can gain that bed. And it's crazy, like how deep and toxic that low key kind of is. But hey, in my experience, manhandling does the job, but that's not always the case. You really gotta stick to your ideals. When you're in those types of situations.
No, yeah, man, great point. I'm just gonna say something real quick. That's a great point because that in the interim could be fun, enjoyable for something you may not have experienced, but then the psychology of it could be the trauma behind it on why they like that type of activity. And so then that in itself will be the red flag because if they like being, in that position, then something that would look at would be how they like to engage in conversation. Is it combative also? You know what I mean? And looking at those patterns, and then those patterns that help you identify that, there's a bigger problem. It's cool to get freaky, but again, making sure it's just a role that you're playing and it's not a permanent mind state that they're in.
Yeah, it's all conditioning. There's a lot of rewiring that has to be done because at some point, and I can be open and honest about it, right? Because transparency. One of my things was like I used to be into that aggressive shit. Not necessarily you got veins and shit coming out your forehead, but like you kind of got like a little smart mouth. You sassy, that type of shit. Because like you kind of linger on the edge of being crazy. Like you'll set some shit on fire or something. That I don't know why. I guess it was just my upbringing, and I just saw too many people like that. But yeah, I had to get out of that because that shit was not nurturing whatsoever. You gotta sleep with your one eye open and closed. Nah.
How'd you? You just said you had to get out of it. What was? You don't have to share it, but what was be the last draw? What was something that you was like this? This can't potentially be more positive than negative, more pros and cons. Not detailed, but just like I guess.
When you tell somebody that you are a fake Christian and you can burn in hell, I think that pretty much is a deal breaker right there. Yeah. Mind you, I knew this person for years. So you don't expect somebody to talk to you like that. I don't care how much you argue and how much you go back and forth. I would never say no shit like that to a single soul. I wouldn't even say that to my worst enemy. So yeah, that was
So that was too spicy.
That was a little too just a little bit too spicy. Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, I'm more of a sour cream and onion type of a person. You know what I'm saying? So, but
hit you with them hot ass Cheetos, you couldn't do it,
huh? yeah, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. But I'm gonna say this: no eggshells. A lot of y'all motherfuckers don't know how to love a man. You don't know how to take care of him. You don't know what he needs. You don't know his birthday. You don't know what to buy him for Christmas. You're a horrible gift giver. You're horrible in bed. You're a horrible kisser. You're probably not affectionate. You're probably dismissive. You probably talk too much. You probably don't listen to a fucking thing you say. Yeah, that's you. Not all of you, but it's some of you. Let's just keep it a whole buck. You're only there for the money. You're only there for his time and resources. You're not really trying to pour into him. You waste his time when you really want to be with somebody else. A lot of you don't care to know how to treat a dude. Just admit it. I would rather you just say, I just want dick and buy what the fuck I want.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. If you're willing to learn, everything's a teachable moment. You got to be open-minded.
I know you ain't just say that.
I'm just saying, if you're willing to learn, you know what I'm saying? But it's the problem when you're not open-minded and you're not willing to learn. Because how else are you going to know how to treat somebody? How else are you going to know when you're doing all the things that somebody don't like, right? It's cool to point all that shit out. But I'm just saying the flip side to it is that doesn't make you a bad person if you're willing to learn. If you're open-minded to say, you know what, I didn't know that necessarily wasn't loving you. I was taught that. You disagree?
Oh no, you right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You know, I'm just trying to provide a different perspective, man. You know what I mean? So you can have all those qualities, but if you're open-minded and you're willing to learn, there's hope for you. Can't just, you know, throw all those things out there, you know, about people. You know what I mean? You can do whatever the hell you want. But I would just say that if that is you and you identify with that type of behavior, you know what I mean? You got to be willing to learn, because if not, you just go on competing and completing the same path over and over and over again. So I'll just say that part, you know, taking it as an opportunity to provide a different perspective. But you can go ahead, bro. Keep doing your thing.
Man, I watched Dawson's Creek. I watched Lady in Red. I watched all of them same little Lifetime movies that y'all watched. I seen the same romantic scenes that you watched. So if I can adapt, you can adapt. But see, like the woman has said, name me one TV show or one movie where it was about the man getting taken care of.
Why are we talking about TV shows and movies? You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. Yeah. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying the problem is the what people keep looking to, the reference to, is the wrong shit. You should be looking to movies and to those things to reference how to treat somebody. It's entertainment. You know what I mean? So go out there and talk to some people in your community. Go find some places where happy married people are and go talk to them about what they did, or they're not necessarily married, but just in good relationships, and talk to real people in real life and get real life experiences. And that's how you can, you know, do better. Fuck watching movies and TV shows. They're scripted. Somebody's writing a script. Somebody's trying to target a certain demographic. So again, that's misentertainment and miseducation. So you're already in the wrong direction if you're looking at TV shows to raise you, to teach you how to be a better version of yourself.
Oh, all you did was confirm my point. I wasn't even disagreeing. I was just saying that's the problem. That's the problem.
I just wouldn't even bring it up. You know what I mean? Bring up too many problems, not enough solutions. You know what I'm saying? Only thing people stick to is the problem. That's what's tangible. Okay. Yeah. If the solution was tangible, we wouldn't have to provide solutions. That's all.
Okay.
You know, as you guys was talking, right? I had a revelation, right? And I was like, yo, I'm in a season right now where I'm learning to, you know, what my interests are, right? And, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that past relationships, you know, don't teach you anything, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that, there wasn't love there. Maybe people are there just to teach you something, right? Maybe they are there to, you know, make you understand what your interests are in a relationship and what you want out of one, you know? And I'm learning that right now. God has a way of saying nothing in your past is wasted. As you progress, as you learn about yourself, and you actually settle down with someone that genuinely wants you for you, you realize that everything that you learned in your past brought you up to this moment where you actually find the significant other that's actually meets you. So it goes hand in hand with both of you are saying. You know, it's not really lost time because you're gaining lessons out of it. You remain teachable. You remain, you know, resilient in those obstacles, So I just look at it that way.
Hey, well said, brother. Well said. And to the comment, not taken care of as a child. We're talking about balancing within the relationship. Even though he's laughing and joking, but yeah, talking about balance within the relationship and yin and yang type things, not necessarily as somebody's kid.
Yeah. Put it this way, right? If y'all stop going out here fucking with everybody that you see, then you would understand that there are some things that will be revealed to you. Go into that dry season. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself. There's nothing wrong with taking care of your spiritual and mental health. There's absolutely nothing wrong with abstaining and keeping your vessel clean and pure. This is the way I was taught. Hard-headed. I was hard-headed as fuck. Right? I kept on fucking around with people I shouldn't have. And then karma kicked my ass for X amount of years. And I kept on crying. I kept on crying and complaining to God about it. And he kept on saying, well, you did that. You did that. I didn't tell you to go out here and fuck around with all these different people. You did that. So you're going to have to deal with it. And through those lessons, like Zay said, some people taught me. Stop playing with people's emotions. Stop taking yourself for granted. Stop disrespecting your time. Stop disrespecting mine. Stop idolizing people over me. Be sure and be content with what you have. Don't be boastful. I was shown so much about me that now it's just easy to understand if I'm going to be dealing with another person, I'm going to know them. I'm going to know them like I know myself. And when you know yourself and the other person is equally invested in you, there is no babysitters club. You're not looking over your shoulder. You can leave your cell phone unlocked. You don't have that problem with the passcode and sneaking and stealing their thumbprint. You don't have to do all that. You're never going to have to question whether or not they're going to step out on you or if you got to do this and do that. It's just going to be natural. But we mess around with so many different people, that shit distorted our way of thinking. You got too much traffic going on, put it that way. Spiritual traffic. And until you get up out of that, you want to just continue to look at social media to dictate and guide you through life. I don't put no more stock in social media for real, because they're not gonna be honest. Everybody is grifting, and everybody's trying to reach a specific group of people wherever they are and capitalize off of it for their own profit. So, um, I'll leave with one final question, and we can close out from here. Um, what typically destroys one's faith in the opposite gender? I'll start with you, Zay. What would be the main or one of the main reasons why you would say I just don't trust y'all no more. I can't really pour into y'all like that no more because this is just too much. I'm like imagine there's a specific person, a specific woman who needs to understand why you feel the way you feel. What would you say to them as to why you've decided to move differently when it comes to dealing with the opposite sex?
I would say I feel like I have to do this for myself. I can't sit around and wait for you to play right. I have to do this for myself because I only got myself. There's so much. I understand we both play our parts. I understand that one can put 100% and the other will put none. I understand that. But I have to do this for myself and I have to be the best version of myself. And in order to do that, I have to step away. And I'm not saying, oh, you lack accountability. Maybe you do. But I will be lacking accountability if I don't step out and do what I gotta do to be the best version of myself. You know? So no, I'm not denying the entire gender, but I am denying you because you aren't good for me.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Real spill. Uh, I'm gonna respond to that question, and then, Coach, if you got anything you want to add before we close out, you got it. Shout outs to everybody in the chat too, by the way, man. Just y'all made the exchange magnifico. Um, you're never gonna know every single thing about a person. I don't think that's the point or the purpose or the goal. I think the the intention, the willingness of the other person to invest. Like you can tell when somebody is really there and when they're really pouring in, the actions always speak for themselves. The problem is we ignore it. Like you see the signs, you see all of it right there. It's in fine print. Like yesterday though, what was it? The words are too small. We don't be wanting to read that extra shit. But everything be right there. How much of it are you willing to invest in to make the determination if this is something that is of value or worth moving forward with? But folks who are hiding or they're withholding from you, oh, they show you too. They'll let you know just as well as somebody who is letting you know that they're all in. So, Coach, any solutions? Any words of advice moving forward?
No, man. Great topic, man. I think it's something that needs to be talked about more. Again, as we talk about how important it is for men's mental health, and then just taking care of the actual man. You know what I mean? Women not necessarily. I won't say that they don't care, but they got to be more open and listen when somebody tells them how they feel. And I think the problem is people get caught up in using words like traditional, and that's how men traditionally were. My dad was a real man because he worked on the farm or some crazy shit like that, which is irrelevant because it's 2025. All we talk about right now is mental health, so it can't be subjective and it can't be sexist, it can't be gender based. You have to listen when people are trying to tell you, and I think right now, men are outcrying. They're trying to seek help, they're trying to seek understanding, companionship, empathy, all the things that they were told they were supposed to be. I think they're realizing that's why, they're not as successful as they could be. You're trying to be something that you're not. So, but great topic, man. I appreciate you having me. Zay, you killed it. You smoked it. MVP for the night, baby.
Definitely. Salutes to everybody, man, who came out tonight. This was a good show. Love this. I can't wait to chop this one up. I got 3 videos, 3 streams I gotta chop up. But we about to get up out of here, man. Y'all know where to find me. I hope you have a blessed night. One more day before New Year's, folks. Y'all take it easy. See y'all tomorrow. We out. Peace.
What's the goddamn black